Hi, welcome back to Zo Talks. This is a show where we discuss all things mental health. We focus on adolescents, the mental health industry, and the education industry. This is also the show where we want to discuss all things difficult. What are some of the burning questions on your mind that you want to talk about? I'm Christina, I'm from Zoala, we're a generative AI tech startup company.
And I'm Joanna, I'm from wwyd, a youth counselling center. And today we have a very, very special guest. We have the founder and CEO of Zoala with us, Mr. Jeff.
All right. Drop the mister.
Okay, sure.
Thanks for finally inviting me. I've been always wanting to actually just join and share, why Zoala exists. I think our followers, our audience probably don't know, and as much as they know about us, it's through our website. And I think it'll be good to actually just have anyone ask us any questions. Right? You can leave, whatever ways. Leave comments below. Yeah.
Comments below. Yeah. All right, let's kick this show
on the road.
Jeff, could you take us back? Why Zoala? Where did this name come from? But also, why here? Why now?
Oh, that's quite a lot of questions asked, but let me try to start with why Zoala, right? What's the reason, the passion behind what we are doing today? It all started with my goddaughter. She went through, maybe it could have been several years, but from the time that we actually just found out, she's been going through 1-2 years of depression, and she went through anxiety, and there were a few attempts of suicide. And I remember when my goddaughter's mother called me and said, "Jeff, I need your help," in the middle of the night. I was like, "What do you need? Can you just send me to the hospital? Because I need to take my daughter to the hospital." I was like, "Well, of course." And that was actually the beginning of us conceptualizing and understanding what exactly a youth is actually just going through today. So Zoala started on the premise of preventing suicides. And moreover, it's to really look at it from the youth perspective. What are they going through their formative years when they're in school? And how can we actually just do better as part of the community?
I think it's also the continuum of care, right? Because I remember you mentioning that she did see counselling over a period of time, but it was once a month. Also, for most of a lot of families, counselling is costly. It's pricey, and so it was that stigma first of all, and that continuum of care.
I think Singapore has done really well, right? They have all the services readily available 24/7. But when you make it so readily available, and when there is stigma, people don't come forward with the help that they need. And if they do, there will be a long queue. You'll be at maybe the 60th or the 120th in line. Yeah. So if you really need help, you really have to be patient. And when anyone going through depression or anxiety, I don't think that time is something that works to their advantage.
So I'm curious because I come from a counseling and psychology background, but I understand that you didn't. Could you share with our listeners a little bit more about what did you study last time, and what was that transition like into the mental health field?
So mental health industry is completely foreign to me until we started Zoala, until I actually just came to Singapore. I have a background in technology in all areas of tech. Started off maybe 24 years ago as a software developer. And I've tried and delved into various areas of technology, and until 24 years later, or maybe 22 years later today, some things happened in life and brought me over to Singapore, and I thought it must be a calling. And with that calling, I searched around through my friends and my network. I realized that I do have quite a number of friends who are in the psychology space, who are psychologists, who are psychiatrists, and they were sort of like giving me more information, more background as to where Singapore is today. And through that, I've been Googling, I've been learning from friends, from the industry. And yeah, it's still quite, I mean, the mind is actually a very complex topic.
And you're also doing a Master's of Psychology, right? Are you still doing that?
Yeah, and it's because of that gap in that learning and that knowledge. And I want to go through a more structured learning so that I can stop Googling and try and understand the human mind, and try and understand what in what areas of psychology do we want to actually just help the youth so they can actually be a better versions of themselves.
I suppose on that note as well, in addition to a lot of our advisors, I mean, we're also thankful for people like you, Joe. Yeah, our close partners in counselling as well. So always constantly remind us, guide us on what we can, what we shouldn't do, and yeah.
And likewise, I feel very in debt to you guys because the effort that you guys take to make sure that you are doing it the right way, and by right way I mean going to the practitioners in the field who have experience working with these teens to make sure that you understand the extent of these gaps and what areas could you help in and bring in tech, because right now we're in an era where tech is everywhere. And I mean, everyone is using tech. Although a lot of people are a little bit apprehensive about tech in the mental health space, I think in terms of, I think we're just willing to accept the help, any help that we can, if it means the betterment of the youth's mental health. Yeah.
One of the things that why we actually started AI, Zoala, focusing on AI, it's not to actually just replace counselor, but we understand the value of counselor. We value the mental health professionals helping the students, helping anyone who needs your attention. So what we have been thinking of is trying to develop solutions or value adds that could help you streamline and optimize the way that you as a counselor, you as a mental health professional, tackle complicated problems with any student disorders, any challenges that they may face, and act on it really, really quickly in their interest as well. So sometimes we can understand that when the cases actually increases, you will be swamped with a number of cases. So we always look at it from that perspective. How can we actually just do better, not just from the student or the youth perspective, but from those who are providing care for them.
I think mental wellness disorder is one aspect, but it's also the positive side of mental wellness, you know, how to upkeep one's mental wellness in conjunction with the physical and the academics, and how best to, you know, utilize those tools, be mindful, it's also the positive side of things as well, or like how better to cope with their studies, how better to socialize, learn those skills, because not a lot of things come naturally, and some things we have to learn. How best to navigate relationships.
It's quite interesting because like relationships, like communication, everyone needs to communicate, but you're never taught in school how to communicate. You don't learn per se in school how to have boundaries, how to have healthy relationships, how to talk to one another. So it's great that you guys are bringing in the tech, and then through that we can boost the population's mental health literacy.
Make it more accessible. Okay, so going back to, you know, one of my earlier questions, Jeff, I think you didn't answer. Why Zoala? Where does this name come from? I mean, I know. I am.
I actually don't know.
I don't know. But like, you know, for the interest of our listeners.
We almost get it almost every time whenever we meet someone new, because the name is actually relatively simple, and exactly that's what we want them, the audience, the prospect, or anyone who actually come across us, to know that it's a very simple brand, it's a simple name. And what does Zoala, the first thing that actually comes to mind? What's the first thing that comes to mind when you hear Zoala?
I was like, is that koala but with a Z? Koala?
Right. I mean, that's where it actually all started. And I think
from koala?
Yeah, from the name koala.
Okay.
Right. Primarily also because before I came to Singapore, I spent quite a number of years in Australia. And when we were thinking of a brand, we were just thinking of something that is related to wellness. And let me just ask you this in case if you don't know, if you know, please let me know. How many hours do koalas sleep in a day?
15?
12? I don't know.
A lot.
Yeah, they sleep a lot.
A lot is what?
They sleep about like 18 to 20 hours in a
I should
day.
know this. I'm Australian.
Oh yeah, right. But not many people actually just know about it. That's also one of the reasons why we picked and we chose koala, but we dropped the K and just introduced a Z. Is because koala sleeps a lot, and sleeps promote wellness, and it's so not unique if we call ourselves koala mental wellness.
Nice. So that Z represents the sleep.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I get it. And I think that's great because something that I've noticed is that sleep is actually kind of often overlooked when we're looking at youths because it's so instrumental to their development. But a lot of times people are asking about, what's your relationship with your parents like? How are your relationship with your friends? How are you doing in school? But not as in, there are definitely practitioners who ask this, but I feel like it's something we should consider more of, like, what's your sleep like? Do you have problems falling asleep? Do you have problems staying asleep? Yeah.
Or going to sleep.
Yeah, we're going to sleep.
Perhaps if they're, super anxious or lots going on, stress, maybe that's affecting their sleep as well.
Yeah,
so identifying those.
Yeah, so and then that in turn will just add on to their stressors and then add on to their ability to cope. So everything is just in this cycle that just pulls each other down,
Just a couple of days ago, I believe Christina will probably be very familiar with the topic that we spoke about among our team. We were just going around asking what is the new one habit that we want to build into our everyday life, and sleep was one of the
most. Yeah.
It came up a lot.
Came up a lot. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I want to sleep early. I want to wake up early. I want to be able to manage my sleep, most importantly.
Nice.
Yeah, because it adds productivity, but also just how well one can get through the day.
Yeah.
I know personally, if I don't get enough sleep, I get so emotional.
Oh yeah, you don't want to see that. I'm
like-
just kidding.
So you mentioned that you got the name Zoala because of your time spent in Australia. So how did you decide to come to Singapore to start Zoala instead of maybe staying in Australia per se, for example?
That's a great question. I never thought that I'll end up here in Singapore. Me being a Malaysian, Singapore, it's like, we'll always visit, but never in my wildest dream that, I will come over to Singapore and try to make an impact in something that's actually very, very, very close to heart.
And you were planning to stay in Australia too, right?
Yeah, I literally migrated over to Australia.
Yeah.
I was enjoying the Australian laid-back lifestyle, but until something happened in my life, and I think again it's God's calling. God want me to go and serve wherever they need my help is actually needed. So while I was in Australia, I was actually doing businesses in Australia and in Malaysia. So there was an opportunity for me to actually exit one of my business in Malaysia. Interestingly, that landed me a role in Singapore, and that was like during COVID time, which is kind of interesting. And most of us we work from home, and exactly during that time, I moved over to Singapore, and I still have to work from home because of circuit breaker.
Yeah.
And since I moved over, I decided to actually continue on my studies. So I went in and enrolled myself into NUS Executive MBA. And that's where I also met my co-founders, Rahul and Shamali. So it was during the MBA course that every business school will require you to actually just come up with a startup project. So I selfishly asked my project team members, can we actually explore this project that I had the intention to actually just start on my own? And everyone agreed because it was something that's really, really important. And that's what we did. We went through that period of conceptualizing and discussing with the team and a group of professors, how do we solve this problem? Which of course we got a lot of advice, and after the the course is over, it got me thinking there's a lot more that we can do. And I decided, why not I just step out on a full-time basis, having exited the business, which also primarily funded Zoala, and that's my calling.
So you left corporate world super cushy into into this turbulent startup world.
Yeah, and I think that's where you find your passion, right? That's where you find your purpose. And my purpose is, I'll serve wherever he wants. Well, it sounds like I'm very religious.
Zoala is not
Yeah.
religious, religion driven,
Yeah.
but it's very cool that you know, personally close to heart, you had your own calling.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm curious to know how many at your MBA, like within your cohort, how many of their projects became a real thing? Any?
Exactly from the project, none. Except for us.
Wow.
Right. Yeah.
Nice.
Because most of them, they're in their corporate jobs. Everyone really utilize that time to actually conceptualize an idea, to understand how entrepreneurship works. How do you start a business, and how do you actually not only start a business, but how do you actually make sure that it's really purposeful rather than it's just another money-making opportunity. So yeah, we're quite fortunate that we are probably the only one, but over the last couple of years, a few of them did start some other projects, which I'm really, really keen to actually just see, because look where we are, where Zoala is at today. I'm really excited for all my other classmates as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it started from an MBA project, and now you're here. So where would you see yourself in about 5 years, 10 years? Do you have any inkling or any ideas?
Well, I like to think that we have a crystal ball. I'll go where our team takes us, the heart takes us, and as well as where the problem actually requires us. What we're solving today, it's not just a Singapore opportunity or an issue that we need to actually just deep dive in. It's a global crisis. And I'm not going to say that we're going to go all over the world, but I think the Asia focus, it's going to be where we will be focusing on the next couple of years, primarily because I think developing an AI technology around culture, I think that's really, really important. So the next couple of years we'll be probably focusing on Singapore, and definitely in Singapore. It's no point trying to go into different markets and trying to solve everyone's problem without making sure that we have the right solution for one country, which we are quite glad that we have validated a lot of our pain points that the schools, the counselors, mental health professionals, as well as the ecosystem, right, that our solution is actually really bringing everyone together into one ecosystem, and hopefully create a new modern village that we can actually just solve our current youth mental health crisis.
Nice. I like that, modern youth.
Yeah.
Modern village, sorry. Yeah, but I think also being in this space has also allowed us to partner with a lot of cool people, a lot of non-for-profits. Do you want to elaborate on that?
A lot of the social service agencies and all the communities that we have the privilege and the honor to really support them and work with them. They're doing a great job. They do need a lot more attention, so that they can perhaps reach out to youth that really need their care. And I think because of the social stigma, the mental health stigma, that youth are not coming forward. And there's also a need for more volunteers, apart from just monetary donations. So the way that we support organizations, a few of the social service organizations, which we'll have them listed on our website, there's a lot of them. It's not just, the way that we want to work with them is not just let's fund them, but it's to see whether how can we bring some outreach to student or youth who actually needs that care, and really bring them through the continuum of care, and not drop them at midway.
Well, thank you for sharing more with us about Zoala's history and the startup, and how you've come so far from the tech field to the mental health industry. If any of you guys are interested in finding more or have any of your burning questions that you would like to ask Jeff, you can leave a comment.
Like, subscribe. Yeah. But you know what, guys? This is not the last of Jeff. This is just scraping the surface, and I'm sure we have a lot more to discuss and deep dive into, you know, AI and tech and mental health and how it all comes together. But yeah, this is definitely not the last time you'll see Jeff.
Yeah.
But feel free, please, bring up those burning questions, those difficult questions. Jeff will be at your service to answer those.
Yeah. Happy to.
Thank you, Jeff, for your
Alright.
time today. Again, like, subscribe, comments. Let us know what you think, what you like, what you don't like. Let us know what you want to see in the next episodes. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you.
Bye.